Hello, things you can't unhear, family. We are about to jump into the most incredible Things You Can't Unhear live event with a live audience right here in my hometown of the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, Australia, with none other than David the Medium, the most phenomenal, gifted, psychic medium that I think there ever was. He gives us so much laughter, insights into life and the human experience and beyond, a glimpse into his incredible gift connecting to spirit, and so much more. You are absolutely going to love this episode and the energy it brings. You can watch along on YouTube or listen on any of your favorite podcast listening apps. Be sure to share this with anyone who you think will enjoy it and benefit from listening. And don't forget to subscribe to the show because we have some big, exciting things coming for you.
Welcome to the Things You Can't Unhear podcast. I'm your host, Maritza Barone. Get ready to hear moments that will help you to see the world differently and inspire you to become the happiest, healthiest, and kindest version of you.
So glad you're all here. I'm so excited to actually do a podcast event and recording in person and actually have an audience, because podcasting is quite a lonely game. So this is a treat to have people in front of me and seeing the energy and reactions of what comes out of my mouth and what comes out of my guest's mouth. Tonight we have obviously a very special guest, and I feel like I'm very blessed to have had such incredible conversations over the last 6 years on the Things You Can't Unhear podcast. Some of the conversations have absolutely changed my life in ways I never expected. David's interview, which was in December last year, shifted me in some way, and we've continued to be friends and chat, and we just had this throwaway idea to do a live recording and come up to the Sunshine Coast, and I thought, why don't we just invite some friends? And here you all are, which is super, super cool. I'm about to invite him out, but before I do, just imagine having a gift so powerful that you can heal people with your words. Imagine allowing someone who's lost someone and loved someone one last conversation with them to find that closure, to find that peace, to heal that grief. This is what he does for people. He heals people, he changes lives. And it's so spectacular to see his gift. It's beautiful. He also has this incredible gift to predict the future, which is crazy. Like the predictions that he has about the world and leaders and COVID, which made him very popular because he predicted a lot of what happened before it actually did. It's pretty amazing. And the information that people get from that can change their lives as well. So that's why he's here. And that's why I think you're all here too. So without further ado, should we welcome him? Should we bring him in? Yes. All right. Welcome, David the Medium. Come on out. Good.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming.
David the Medium.
My
Here
shorts
we
are so short.
So
Lucky I've been tanning, everyone.
you have. You spent the whole day by the pool today, which is pretty incredible.
It's been so lovely. This is my first time in the Sunshine Coast, so it's just so beautiful to be up here, and it was just such a cracker day today as well.
You did arrive in torrential rain, but obviously
still warmer than Melbourne.
Yeah, correct.
Even with the rain.
Warmer than Melbourne. So we're pretty lucky to have you. You haven't really been home in Melbourne for quite a few months. You've been flying all around the country. Can you tell me about the last couple of months and what that's been like for you?
It's been spectacular. So for all those that don't know, I did start doing live audience shows around Australia this year. So started that in March back in my hometown Melbourne, and the last few months I just got back from Perth. The weekend before that we were in Sydney at the Opera House, which was, I can't put into words how special that was. And then, I've been in the Gold Coast in, when was I in the Gold Coast? In June?
When did we go? Yeah, about June.
Yeah, June, yeah.
Which,
and then, been in Singapore and Cambodia recently as well, just getting away for a little bit. So haven't been in Melbourne much, which has been fun.
The live shows.
Wasn't meant to sound like that. No.
Has anyone been to David's live shows? I know Mel has. Yep, there's a couple up the back. They're absolutely, they're absolutely incredible. And what you witness at these live shows is just, it gives you chills.
Thank you.
We remembered Mel and I went, and as we were driving back, the hour and a half back or 2 hours back, Mel was like recounting every single story, every reading that you'd had, because she just remembered it all so deeply. And people were crying. Everyone in the audience was crying. Grown men were crying, women, whoever it was. You touched people in such amazing ways. And it's just growing and growing. I'm in awe of what you're doing at the moment, because you're taking this gift to the skies and beyond.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I mean, it's by far the most favourite thing I've been able to do as a psychic medium. Like, it's just so good and just really fills my own cup, and it's so rewarding just to be able to do that for people. And I mean, every crowd I've had so far, it's been so much fun.
Yeah.
And to be able to mix, spirituality with a bit of humour, with a bit of grief and trauma. I mean, that's not the good part, obviously, but to be able to mix that together, they're just fascinating and just special. And I'm fortunate to have such a loyal, connected, fun audience as well. So
yeah, that is the other thing about you. You are very funny. So it's helpful. It's helpful when you want to be in front of an audience to bring humour to it as well.
It's a little bit cringe. I don't know.
But the thing is, your readings are so life-changing, like I said. And someone gave me an example the other day of a reading that you did, which I think was absolutely, completely shifting in the way that this person would have perceived their loved one passing away.
Okay.
So I think they came to you with the belief that their loved one had suicided, and by the end of it, they had left knowing that it actually wasn't a suicide, and it was an accidental overdose. So that information, to leave with that information, knowing something completely different, and having that one last conversation with someone in your life that you never thought you could have.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a huge responsibility, isn't it? Like, you can't stop ever doing this.
No, and I don't want to, so that's good. No, I'll never take for granted how fortunate I am to be able to do that for people, because, at the very start for me, and for those that don't know, like, my background was corporate, so I worked in law really from 18 to 30, and, my last, what I call inverted commas, proper job was actually criminal prosecution, so it was very different to what I'm doing now. And as cliche and as corny as it sounds, in the back of my head, I always wanted to be, helping people and wanting to make a change. And, corporate wasn't doing that for me. So even when I started off as David the Medium, before I was professional, as silly as it sounds, I kind of always saw it as a bit of a party trick. It's sort of like, okay, I'm working in law and I want to get into Homeland Security. I'm doing counterterrorism, all that kind of stuff. And on the side, I also sometimes read people and I connect with spirit. Like, it was never anything that I saw as my sort of soul pathway. And very early on in that journey, I realized not only is it something that's really fun and really cool to do, but the incredible impact it can have on people as well. And to be able to put myself in their shoes and, as you mentioned, to be able to get stories of connection and closure. I mean, I just realized the immense gift it can be for people, and healing as well. Like, even for me, I mean, there's so much I've learned, not only about myself, but also about people, about the journey in the soul game, for want of a better phrase.
Like, why are we even here?
Exactly.
Like, what is happening? What's the purpose of life? Just the small questions today. No.
Well, I've got the answer for it, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
he's got the answer. What's the purpose of life?
It's the biggest question I think we all have. I mean, I think at some stage we've all sat down and we've all wondered, what am I doing here? What is the... I nearly swore then, but what's the point of wanting to do... Yeah, what the fuck are we doing here? And she said it first. And the simple answer is that life is classroom for the soul, because we all have to come here because there's things that we're all learning, there's things that we're evolving through, and there's lessons that we're gaining from, and we're evolving as not only humans, but the soul. And we have to look at our journey on earth kind of like we're in a classroom at school again, or at university. Like, you are learning different topics, different subjects. There's things that you excel at, there's things that you hate. Sometimes you get suspended, sometimes you get expelled, but it's all about the journey. And the soul has to come here because it kind of is like a computer game of sorts. Like, there's definitely things that we have to learn, and then we return to oneness and upgrade again. And I believe that you come back as well. Like, I definitely believe in past lives and future lives for us all, and different timelines.
Life is a lesson. So
Life is a lesson. That's a
enjoy
nice, easy way to say it. Yeah.
So tell us like what the afterlife is like, because you probably
I haven't been there yet.
Well,
I have, but I can't remember.
according to your friends that communicate with you, is it going to be cool? Like, it's going to be good?
Well, I hope so.
Because we're all going there.
I know we're all going there eventually. I mean, hopefully not anytime soon, but like, in my experience, and this is interesting for me because I didn't grow up religious. I wasn't necessarily spiritual when I was younger. Well, I wasn't spiritual at all when I was younger. So I never really had a view of the afterlife. I definitely believed that we went somewhere when we crossed over, because I think, even irregardless of your viewpoints, this can't be it. Like, there has to be more than this anyway. And my whole view of that has changed. Obviously, I've gone on as David the Medium, because every spirit I connect with, they all bring through the same tenets and the same foundational emotions. And those are ones of peace and love and connection and just this all-knowing, because we all see each other as humans, rightly so, because we are. But the energy of what makes us us, the soul and our spiritual energy, that returns home when we cross over. And there's no fear, there's no anger, there's no jealousy, because those are human emotions, because those are actually what helps teach us a lot as well in our journey down here. But when the soul returns home again, it's just this all-knowing, this all-peacefulness. For those that, believe in a heaven, for example, it feels like heaven would feel. And it's incredibly warm and peaceful, because irregardless of the souls that I read for, irregardless of their journey in the physical world, when they do connect with me, you feel that overwhelming peacefulness and that calmness. And that's for eternity. Yeah.
What are your feelings around death, knowing what you know now?
Yeah, good question. Like, I was never necessarily afraid of it anyway, because I'm a big believer that if you can't control it, you can't let it control you. But death doesn't exist, really. We all understand the concept of a physical death, because we all know that we will cross over, and eventually, unfortunately, our loved ones cross over, our grandparents all have. But the soul doesn't cease to exist. And, even science understands that, because science talks about energy, and once energy is created, it doesn't cease to exist either. So we're exactly that. We are energy, and our soul is made up of, or particles, I guess, for want of a better word, but even when the physical body expires, that has to go somewhere. It doesn't just cease to exist, as we were saying. So death for me is not something that necessarily worries me anymore, personally. Like, obviously, as the human, I don't want my loved ones to cross over. And even as a medium, I still grieve those that I have lost in the physical world, even though I maybe have a greater understanding about the soul journey and what happens to you. It doesn't mean that I'm any less human in that sense. But it's interesting as well, because when we look at Western culture, like, it is embraced as a very, rightly so, negative event, but other cultures around the world celebrate death in some ways as well. Like, they understand from a more spiritual perspective that the souls are returning to the afterlife, and it's actually something to be celebrated. And it's something that I think we can all sort of evolve our viewpoints on at the same time. Yeah.
I think
gain from
the grief, it's just obviously such a hard thing for so many people, but having that beautiful belief and knowing that is, I'm sure, so settling for a lot of people I know here who have lost people recently and are grieving in that process. So I hope that does settle some people's hearts to know that those who have passed are actually in a good place.
They are.
Can we communicate with them ourselves? Like, what do you recommend for us to be able to get signs from people that we've lost? Or I know you've mentioned you can't actually communicate with your loved ones yourself, can you?
I can't hear them like I would hear yours, for example, but I can still get signs from them. So, the most important thing to remember, and this is my motto as David the Medium, like, I want every single person that I'm able to come into contact with to know that your loved ones are around you. They are still watching over, because just because they've physically crossed over, as we were saying, doesn't mean that they cease to exist. And our journeys become their journeys. Their connection with us isn't dulled, because their souls are connected to us. So to be able to connect with it, I test my loved ones. Even for me, like, I'm always constantly asking for the most random signs. Allow them to show you that they're there. Unfortunately, when we are grieving, and as I said before, irregardless of your spiritual belief or your understanding, of course we grieve, like, because we're human, and we should never forget that we're human either. But when I'm asking for signs or when I'm asking for connections, I really pull on stupid things. Like even the other day, I asked my grandmother to show me a pink octopus. Like, where are you going to find a pink octopus from? But it was a few months ago. But then the next ad on TV that morning was a massive blow-up pink octopus. Wow. So they want you to know that they are around you. They want you to be able to connect in that special way with them as well. But I always say as well, if you pick up on anything that you see as a sign from your loved ones, it could be a sense, it could be a smell, it could be music that plays, or a very common one as well, and pay attention to it for everyone listening. But even if you walk down the street and you feel like, oh, that lady looks like my mum, oh, that looks like my brother, like it is them. They want you to know that they are around you, so they're going to reach out in all special ways. Now, if I said to you, okay, Maritza, what's a sign for you? You don't have to answer that, by the way, but it might not be a sign for me. So if we look for signs in everything, then nothing becomes a sign. But if we have those moments that stops us in our tracks to remember them, to think of them, then know that is them. And it is like a muscle as well. The more that you test it and the more that you strengthen it, the stronger it will be able to be and the stronger it will get.
My thing is the radio talks to me. I know that sounds so weird, but like I get messages through songs and I'm thinking about something and then the song will like answer and I'm like,
on it. And do that, and pay attention to it as well, because as humans, like I said, we are all souls, and we all have gut feelings. We all have intuition. Pay attention to it. Yeah. Like the amount of times that I'm driving down the street and I'm like, oh, fuck, you need to change lanes, and I don't pay attention, and then I do, because there's a car crash up ahead, all those things. Like, they will show you signs. And even for me, like, I don't know, like I just, like, got a random memory in my head, but during Melbourne, when we were in lockdown.
Lockdown.
Yeah. No one in Melbourne remembers. We've all got PTSD from it. But everyone in Queensland's like, what's a lockdown? Yeah.
All 3 days of it.
Oh, we remember that. That was a terrible 48 hours. But at one stage...
We're not bitter at all.
No, I'm like grabbing the table. I need to spill my water everywhere as well. But like Melbourne was under curfew. For, you know, apparently COVID was a nighttime disease. You're fine during the day, but as soon as the sun goes down, it's a vampire, actually. Now, I know how to point to this. Oh, that's right. So, like, we're under lockdown and curfew, and I was like, well, fuck that. I'm not staying home. Like, so it was actually the perfect time to go for a walk on the beach because there was no one around. Unless you bumped into someone, you're like, okay. But I was saying to my grandmother, because this was, I mean, Melbourne had already been, I think, in like, 47 different lockdowns at this time. I can't remember how many, but it was really tough. And there was a lot of heavy emotion. And, for those that were in Melbourne, there's probably some in the room at the time. Yeah. Everyone's like, yeah. I was there all night, honestly. But I was walking down Bay Street in Port Melbourne and dead silent, like 9 p.m. And not a soul around, and I got the biggest whiff of my grandmother's perfume. And that was like, yeah, cool. She agrees with what I'm doing, first and foremost. But she's showing me that I'm around. And
you're such a rebel.
Yeah, and that was the thing. I just asked for a sign. I'm like, I just want you to show me that you're there. And there was no one around. So that's her.
Well, it's actually a great segue to what I want to ask you next.
But not be about COVID.
Well, it's about your predictions, which made you very popular. So you were predicting COVID a long time before COVID was a thing, and you were predicting occurrences, and people were like, hey, this guy knows things before we know them, what's going on. Talk to us about that gift as well. How do you see things that are about to happen like that? Because that's different to what you do as a medium, isn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all kind of connected as well. So on the medium side of things as well, because I say... we've all got key points in our lives that we cannot avoid because that's the whole reason that we're here. So it's kind of, to use the school analogy again, the soul comes here because there's key events, key timelines, and key things that we're all going to learn from as well. So to be able to be psychic essentially means that I'm able to foresee those timelines when I read for people as well. Now, the biggest question I get on that as well, is there free will or is everything fated? And it's actually both. So whilst there is key events that you cannot avoid or key timelines or key things happening in your life, you do get free will over the path that you take to it. So I say it's like a triangle. So you've got the key things up the top and all these paths down the bottom, and whatever path you take will inevitably end up there. So as a psychic, when it came to doing world events, it was intuitive in my gut for a lot of it, but I also have deep conversations with people. There's one in the audience at the moment, Luke Bulk, the king of all astrology. So, you know, I was having conversations with Luke, all my good friends, but when I was making a lot of worldly predictions, especially around COVID, I would actually have really deep dreams about it. And this was really towards the end of 2019, heading into 2020, before, you know, COVID had even gone nuts in China. And did anyone ever see that Stephen King movie or the book The Stand? Yeah, classic. Where was I going with that? There was a point. So I was like, book chats with David the Medium. But The Stand, for those that don't know it, it's a Stephen King book and a great movie as well, but it's about a virus that escapes a military facility, just like COVID. Controversial, I know, but it did. And within a month, it wiped out nearly the whole world's population. And whilst I was having these dreams and doing deep meditations, and I could really feel a big switch in the world about to happen, and I was even saying, you know, February, March 2020, really, and this was the end of 2019. But what Spirit was also doing was showing me the opening 5 minutes of the movie The Stand. And I was like, oh, fuck, like there's something that's about to get out into the world like a virus. Good. And I was actually very fearful at the start of COVID because I actually thought about 1/5 of the world's population was about to die.
Based on the imagery.
And I was having visions of shipping containers, like it sounds morbid, but shipping containers full of body bags and things like that. I was like, oh, but they're all empty.
But that was something that was told to us was happening. So that might have been coming through.
Yeah, this was all like October 2019. And then I was having meditations of people wearing masks and things like that. So once I was able to connect the dots and once COVID started making news, that's when I was able to really nut it down. I'm like, okay. And even stupid things, like I predicted the dates that Disneyland would close. And like I saw the MCG empty. So I was like, well, the grand final's not happening in Melbourne this year. And at the very start, I did say Melbourne would go into 6 lockdowns because you kept seeing the number 6 with breaks in it. And
ended up being 60.
And ended up being 40,000. But over 6. But yeah, so in that sense, and it's really fun doing world predictions as well because it's something that I've learned over the years because I was very direct and very spot on in some ways when it came to COVID, but the world timeline is so fluid. And it's something that I've learned over the last few years in particular, that even though you can sense things, even though you feel things, everything's moving around like the stairway at Hogwarts. Like it's just all these different pathways. So there's definitely key themes that we can all feel on, and I've definitely tapped into that over the last few years in particular. And, you know, even in 2020, I was making a lot of predictions around the US election again and things like that. But
yeah, I can't wait to jump into those. But we're not, like, you're not the only one who thinks you're good at predictions and your community. You were literally on Sky News the other day giving global predictions. So this is becoming more mainstream than ever. I don't think I've ever seen a psychic medium on Sky News giving his global predictions before.
I know, it was interesting of them to have me on. I was actually the first medium on Sky News Australia. So
how did that even happen?
Yeah, really cool. So, you know, nothing against going on to the Today Show or Sunrise or anything like that, but I want to do things that have never been done before. Yeah. And, you know, to go in with my mission of, you know, having everyone who comes into contact with me sort of having a deeper understanding about mediumship or spirituality. I also call myself the mainstream medium. Like, I like kind of being the gateway drug into mediumship at the same time as well. So even though I've had opportunities to go on Sunrise, I'm like, yeah, but that's like easy. I want to do like the conservative heartland. So, so when I had the opportunity to go on Sky News, I'm like, the audience is, they're not going to know what to think because they're probably going to agree with what I'm saying, but they're going to be like, but he's a medium. He's a gay medium. So it's a bit like, you know, it's like... So that was really fun, and yeah, watch this space. I think there's a few things to come out there as well. I mean, not from the predictions, but also moving forward with Sky News. So.
Heard it here first, people. So does anyone want to know what on earth is about to happen with our world in the next couple of years? Because I certainly do.
I've tapped out, so I don't know. No.
Can you share some of what you're seeing at the moment?
Oh gosh, on what?
It's not going to be good. I just know it.
On what topic? Let's pick a topic. Well, see, even I don't know where to start. I mean, let's choose a topic. Do you want us to choose a topic?
Yeah,
pick a topic.
Let's go world leadership because I think it's the
is
thing.
There any?
And even let's go US.
Yeah.
There's none.
Yeah. Yes.
Let's go the US elections because it's you did predict the Trump assassination attempt. I know you did too, Luke. Which is
so I said that at the end of 2023. I said that. I actually said Donald Trump and Joe Biden would have sort of assassination attempt, or Joe Biden. But I also predicted 2 with Donald Trump, so I still think there's another one to come. And Joe Biden essentially got assassinated by his own party. So,
that's very true.
you know, for the sake of democracy. So, I mean, I don't think even Joe knows he's not the character. But, you know, it's going to be a shock to him when he realizes. But, so, I mean, America for me is fascinating because, I mean, when I was just David before I was the medium, I loved politics and I love economics and I love sort of seeing what goes on in the world. So it was always sort of a natural interest to me. So then when I sort of developed my spiritual ability and the prediction ability, to be able to combine the both, it's been a lot of fun. The best thing about, well, not maybe the best thing about the US, but irregardless of your viewpoint of the US or of US politics, it is the spiritual empire home. So anything that sort of happens in the United States reverberates around the world energetically for me. So I do call the US the spiritual empire. And I think we see it in general life anyway, whatever ends up happening there affects the whole world, whether it's pop culture or economics or things like that as well. So I think the next 3 months, the election is, I think about maybe 80 days away. It's really not that far now. America, for me, is like a washing machine at the moment. You just don't know which way you're facing, what's going on. I mean, it's just nuts what's happening there at a day-by-day level. My overall prediction, and it was definitely heightened during the assassination attempts, but I do believe that it is actually Donald Trump's race to lose. He is more likely to win. But being the spiritual empire means that it is such a power dynamic base as well. And right now, those that control America, and it's not Kamala Harris, it's not the Democrat Party, there's energies there. They're not going to just hand their power back to him. So it's going to be, I think, a really sort of fascinating lead up to it. I predicted at the start of the year, I think America will go through things that it's probably never seen before, and admittedly it kind of already has over the last few months. I mean, there's definitely been assassination attempts on leaders before, but it's just been chaotic, and it is chaotic, and it's going to continue to be chaotic. And it's interesting, because even with Kamala Harris's VP pick, Tim Walz is his name, I just don't see him being there either. So I don't know whether he's getting replaced. There's a lot of scandal around him at the moment. Even from my own perspective, I was like, why did you pick him out of everyone? I mean, so he's got a lot of personal sort of scandal and a bit of issues around him at the moment. So I just don't think that he'll be there. If we have another an assassination attempt against Donald Trump, obviously that's going to wind everything up. There's still a very strong possibility that they will try and put him in prison still. I don't think that threat has dissipated at all. There was always a 9 around that as well, so I actually thought it'd be around the 9th of July when it was meant to be, I think his initial sentencing was going to be the 13th of July, but then it's been pushed back. So we might even see something going on there with September with him in prison. And if you put the leading candidate in prison right before the election, again, how does that look? Where do you go from that? So
it is definitely
I could talk about it all day.
Thing to watch, that is for sure.
Yeah.
What about the banking system and cash and digital credit? Where are you seeing that heading?
Yeah.
Is cash going? Is it gone?
Well, they would like it gone, absolutely. I mean, hold on to cash as long as you can. That's my viewpoint on that. So, the world is becoming a lot more digital, and we all know that as well. I think the overall aim is to obviously move into a real digital society. To then even go into things like digital ID cards, that's back on the agenda again. They're talking about that. So it's just essentially a form of digital control. It was so much better when we all got paid cash anyway, because then we could tax avoid. So, I didn't do that, but but I'm all online now, so I can't get away with it. But not that I was getting away with it to start with. Any tax accountants in the room? No, great, yeah. It's just essentially a form of digital control, and it's always an interesting thing to talk about, because everyone's like, well, that's a conspiracy theory, and I was like, yeah, but the last 30 conspiracy theories have all come true. So. There is something that I predicted, and we were talking about it on the podcast as well, with the digital IDs for online. And, I know we were talking about this last year about that the internet was likely to have issues and shut off perhaps, or sort of be a bit of a blackout. And then the only way you'd be able to get back on the internet is to have a digital ID. And there's been a lot of different issues with the internet this year again. It hasn't obviously completely blacked out yet, perhaps, but they're now talking about digital IDs for online again to stop scammers. And it's like, just don't be stupid. That's how you stop scammers. But obviously it's a bit more complicated than that. But
Yeah, and you can actually see how it would be possible for that to hapen. There's a pathway for it. It's been mapped out.
Yeah, they sprinkle it all, and then eventually you just get used to it, essentially. So
what's your advice for us then, going into the next 12 to 24 months as an energy that you're seeing? Because you saw the COVID energy, and obviously that was super heavy.
Yeah.
Do you have advice for, or words of preparation for us to sort of just go into the next 12 to 24 months?
You just can't give up your freedom. Like, what you hold close to you, what's important to you. Don't allow that, or don't allow any other powers to take that away from you. And, especially during COVID, because we're all like, oh, okay, it's just 2 weeks. Okay, it's just a mask. It's just this. And before you know it, especially for those of us in Melbourne, okay, you can't see your family. You can't leave the home for more than an hour a day. You can't go out past 9 p.m. Like, it gets too much. So hold on to what makes you you. Stay true to your own beliefs and what you feel like is the right thing to do, because right is subjective. There's no right or wrong. There's definitely wrong ways to do things, but there's no necessarily right or wrong way to do things. And just remember who you are, remember where you want to be, and remember what's important to you. Because there will be so much noise. And there it is. I mean, we've all seen it over the last 4 years in particular, since the beginnings of COVID anyway, but there's a lot of noise out there. Cut it out. And my whole thing is, if you can't control it, don't allow it to control you. So it's that simple. Yeah.
No idea. I'm just absorbing all your words. I'm forgetting that there's an audience going, okay, David.
There's an audience as well. How rogue can we go?
It's been brilliant. Obviously, the last couple of days we've been chatting heaps, and you've been sharing so much wisdom. And I'm like, okay, wait, don't share it all now. We have to wait until we get up on stage, because everyone needs to hear it.
Yeah, we get in the car in the morning, you're like, how was your night? And I'm like, well, what do you want to
So the global predictions are obviously there. We've got don't let our freedom go. But another thing that you actually do, which is brilliant, that I've been a part of, is honing in on your manifestation skills.
Yeah.
And you have a 22 minutes to manifest online that you run monthly, is it?
Yeah, trying to run it monthly, yeah.
Yeah.
At least every 6-7 weeks.
And there's between 500 and 1,000 people there every time, which is crazy. I did it, I think it was in July. I jumped online, and it was just, you actually warned everyone at the beginning. You said, you're probably going to cry. And I was like, oh, I'm definitely not going to cry. I don't feel emotional at the moment. It's all good.
Yeah.
By the end of it, I was definitely in tears, and I had no idea why. It was just this.
It's an energetic release. Yeah, yeah.
It was amazing. I don't even know what happened.
Yeah, I mean, those events were so fun. So I had laser eye surgery in 2022. And for anyone that's had it, they give you these drugs that basically just send you to sleep for 5 days, but I can't remember a thing. And I remember calling my friend who was helping me create my website at the time, and I was high as a kite. And and I was like, hey, I've got this great idea where we're going to do online events, and I'm going to talk about manifestation, and anyone who wants to join, we can just do it over Zoom, and we're going to do a manifestation meditation. And she's like, yeah, great idea. We'll get started on it. And then she spoke to me a few weeks later, and she goes, oh, so about those manifestation classes. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I cannot even remember where it came from. So that's how I know it was a download from Spirit. But yeah, when we started doing those, they, again, have just become such incredible events. I'm so grateful and fortunate to be able to do them as well. So yeah, I called it 22 minutes to manifest, because keeping on the same theme as being a gateway drug, I like to sort of just introduce people to manifestation and sort of the basic understandings, because when I've heard other spiritual people talk about manifestation and energy, the spiritual ego comes out so strong in them, because they're using language and words that I'm like, what are you saying? It's not that complicated. Because then to go into the theme of, we can hear, that everything is energy, every single one of us, regardless of, again, your spiritual understanding or your experience, we all have the ability to create pathways of attraction of things towards us, because everything is energy, everything is frequency, and the universe operates on energy and frequency. So because nothing is predetermined in that sense, or because nothing is off limits, that means there's an infinite amount of opportunities and abilities to attract things towards you with whatever it is you're seeking in life, whether it be financial abundance or relationships, travel, career, like it's all possible. So yeah, in these events, I just like to sprinkle, and it's spirit-led as well. They like to sprinkle a few little bits of insights and tips and wisdoms, and then we do the manifestation meditation, which is just a healing frequency that we play and get everyone to sort of just center themselves and manifest whatever it is you're wanting into your life. And the outcomes have been amazing. I mean, as you mentioned, the energy that we all feel is insane. And when you've got up to 1,000 people doing it all at once, we do create a vortex or a portal or whatever it is we're doing. But the outcomes are just spectacular. And your whole body gets hot. You might get tingles. Has anyone in the room done it before? Oh, wow, thank you. Okay, yeah, perfect. So you can all tell everyone how amazing it is. No, I'm just saying. But
does anyone want to do one now by any chance?
Yeah, I would love to do one with you all.
All right. Well, let's do a little manifest. We're going to do a 5-minute manifestation.
Yeah, so I know I'm putting you all on the spot, but I'm sure there's things that everyone is wanting to attract into their lives. And what I want every single person doing is just to think of something that you would like to attract. And the key difference between manifesting and wishful thinking is the realization there is a difference. Yeah, but it's wishful thinking is like, oh, I wish that would happen, or I'd hope that, that's not achievable. Like, we make it seem like it's impossible because it's a wish. Manifestation is paying attention not only to the languages that we use, but it's also connecting with the emotional side of it. Like, how does it make you feel? If you're going to bring in like these financial abundance or these career opportunities or to meet the most amazing partner, like, it's all one thing to be able to picture that, but how do you actually emotionally and soul connect with it? And that's what creates energetic pathways. And it's also paying attention to the language that we use as well. I say that all the time, because if you say that you hope for something or you wish for something, you're already setting the verbal intention that it's not actually possible, because you're already saying that it's a wish and that's not reality, or it's not common sense. So it's also paying attention to our language. Instead of saying I wish for it, be like, I am attracting this, I deserve this, I'm opening pathways for this. The universe operates on intention because it doesn't owe us a thing. The universe is essentially just you inversed. Like, you create your own reality. Our loved ones can guide us, and there's definitely, as we were saying before, key things that we cannot avoid, but every single one of us creates our own pathways every single day we wake up. So you decide how that looks. It's that simple. And the universe will match your energy and your frequency and the intention that you're putting out there. So without further ado, what I would like everyone, and again putting you all on the spot, but what I would love everyone to do, regardless of what it is, it may be something major, it could be something really micro-manifesting, but just think of something that you would like to attract into your life, whatever that may be. And I want every single person to close your eyes, and whilst you're picturing that, I want you to again focus on the emotional attachment to it. Like, how does it make you feel? How does your life look when that is a part of it? Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling content? Are you feeling fuck yeah? Like, whatever it may be. So without further ado, let's do that for the next 5 minutes. Ooh. I would love everybody to also pay attention to the heartbeat in the recording as well, and time your thoughts to that. There we go. Feel free to keep your eyes closed as long as you like. felt the energy again. Wow.
Your heart was racing.
My heart was racing. And then the bass made it sound like Godzilla was outside. I was like, and I'm like, what's been happening on the Sunshine Coast?
I've actually put little envelopes on everyone's cards that have a little rope in them. And I think David talked about the feeling of manifestation. So I just want this to be, put it on for 30 days. And remember that feeling every day for 30 days of what you were feeling just then in that manifestation.
Yeah. Because, that definitely really is the biggest thing between wishful thinking and manifestation, because manifestation is the wholehearted energetic connection and belief that we can attract it into our lives. And wishful thinking just makes it seem like a dream or seems like an unattainable opportunity.
Yeah.
So wear the bracelet. And, manifestation is something you can do by yourself as well. Everyone can meditate at night to that and go to sleep tonight imagining what it was that you were connecting with in this reading as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
Let's get have you manifested anything in your life recently that's come to fruition?
Yeah. Been here, to be very fair. Yeah. So the Lionsgate portal, which is on the 8th of August, every year I use that as a great opportunity to sort of manifest for the year ahead. And last year, the two very strong ones that I wanted to do was I actually pitched a live show at a real fun, iconic venue.
It's in the Opera House.
The Opera House. And I also connected and saw myself on Sky News, would you believe? And then that came as well. So for the next, and the good thing about manifestation, it's not going to ruin it if you tell everyone either. So it's not like a wish where you're like, oh no, I can't tell anyone. Like when you cut the birthday cake. For the year ahead, I was focusing on, one's really stupid, but I saw myself at the Brownlow.
Oh.
So maybe I'm
football career
dating a footballer. I don't know.
Dating a footballer.
I'm old enough to be their dad. I don't know. It's a bit weird. But also, doing overseas live shows as well. So, and the opportunities already have kind of presented themselves for that. So, I'd love to go global in some ways. Just have fun with it. Yeah,
it's going to happen for sure.
And also doing live podcasting events. Honestly, this was something that I've always wanted to connect with and do as well, and always thought about when I was doing manifesting. So, thank you for having me on stage with you.
Yay. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Now, I really want to open up to everyone tonight because I know I get to ask some good questions and there's probably some questions that people have of their own. And so I do want you to have an opportunity to converse with people.
I'd love
tonight. I should just preface, let's try and ask questions that aren't personal because we'll try and keep it as a collective group. I know everyone would love a reading with David. I'd love one, by the way, before you leave.
Appointments are opening up at the end of August.
Okay, good to know.
Heard it here first.
Can you let us know first? Thanks. But does anyone have a question they would like to ask straight off the bat?
About anything in the world, anything going on, spirituality, mediumship. Hello.
Kelly.
So it's kind of funny because the interview that I did with Maritza happened a week after I lost someone really close to me. A client of mine drowned in an accident, and I can always feel her connection. Did not expect the emotion. I don't even know what I've got to ask. I think it's just, it was such a sudden incident. It happened like COVID. I was running remote retreats. It was the first opportunity I had to bring all these amazing women together. And on day 2, this crazy thing happened and she drowned on the morning of. And the year ahead for her was just looking so incredible, and I understand everyone has their time. I understand, you don't get in the way of someone's fate. We even had an Indigenous woman who came down who was actually coming down. I'd booked her specifically for her the next day, not knowing how that was actually going to be. But she said it was a good death because it was fresh water going into salt water. But I guess I just want to... she's given me so much inspiration over the last couple of years, and I feel her really close, and I guess I want to know that she feels complete in terms of where she's at.
Yeah. You make a really good point as well with, our soul journey and how everything is unfortunately fated as well. And, even as you're talking, I just got this overwhelming sense of being peaceful. And then to go into the question that you were asking about that as well. But it just, irregardless of when our journey is up in the physical world, because obviously none of us want to leave.
No.
We all have this life and we all love everyone and we're still connected. But it does go into the element of soul journey, and it is this element of being complete, because the soul knows how long it's in the physical world before it even is conceived into it. And it leaves when it knows it has to. So regardless, the human never wants to, but even when you were talking, as I was saying, I felt this overwhelming sense of peace. Even talking to you now, I keep going straight into the dream state as well. So even though you are getting a lot of signs from her, she is actually validating that she's reaching out in dreams to you. So have you had them yet?
I haven't had dreams around Jill. I've just had, she shows up. I'm very spiritually connected, so I get all the signs.
Yeah.
My dad shows up as a kookaburra, he's sending, I'm very, so, she speaks to me through symbols all the time, but I haven't had dreams show up. And there was a woman, the whole event unraveled synchronistic. There was so many synchronistic moments that week. I'll have to write a book at some point.
Yeah.
But there was a woman who came up to me and she'd held her hand as they were doing, as they were trying to revive her. And she said to me, I don't know if this helps you, but I just felt so much peace.
It's overwhelming. It really is.
It's like a really overwhelming relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. So I have no doubt. The great thing is that you've got that connection understanding already, but there's definitely a reach out of dreams. There has to be. And I love that even the kookaburra is a fun story. So it's an interesting one, because in the physical sense, our journey is complete.
Yeah, totally.
But the soul lives on. And that's the thing. There's no such thing as completion in the soul world, because it just is inevitable that it will continue forever. So, by the sounds of it, if you were to ask for a sign, you're going to get it anyway. But there's definitely a very strong connection with dreaming in particular as well. Because even as David the medium, when I connect with someone, my brain waves go into a different level of, essentially, it shows that I'm asleep.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably a lot of people in the room that can connect with having dreams of loved ones. And you know that it's not a dream, because it feels different. It's smells, senses, hugs, voices. That is them connecting with you. Don't ever think that it's just wishful thinking, or don't think because you're missing them so much, I wish that they were in my dreams, why don't they show me? They aren't, because you were literally being the medium in that sense. When the body is relaxed, messages will come to you a lot easier. And unfortunately, that can also be the most bittersweet thing of all as well, because when we are grieving someone, all we want to be able to do is get that connection. But because we are feeling so sad and so emotionally detached in a lot of ways, it can sometimes dull that connection. But even as I'm talking, there's a reference of, do you know when her birthday is? Because I'm seeing, unless it's yours or something like that, but there's a massive candle in front of me suddenly that they've lit, which is usually a reference of celebrations or birthdays.
Right.
Over there.
No, she's back a little while ago.
Where you're sitting right now, Jazz was supposed to be sitting, and it is Jazz's birthday.
Oh,
today.
there you go.
That is so crazy. No, I don't know. She's not here, I don't think.
No, she couldn't come.
But I had actually put her name on that seat to say that it was her birthday.
There you
That is.
Yeah, but definitely there's that element of just, it sounds so corny, especially coming from a medium, but I just feel so content and at peace. It really is. Yeah. And irregardless of, sometimes we do cross over in the most tragic ways, and I think there's unfortunately probably people in the room that have lost loved ones in really tragic, sudden circumstances, but irregardless of how they leave the physical world, the soul always returns to the element of peacefulness and completion. So, yeah. Awesome. It's a special soul.
Cool. Thank you.
When I've been doing my live shows, I say to Spirit, I'm like, start at the front, work back. Yes. And they don't listen, but, it's all right.
Hello, my name's Amanda. I have a question. So you are the first medium that we've watched that in your process, when you pass on a message, we watch you say things word for word, and they call you Dave as you're passing on the message. That's the first time we've witnessed someone repeat sentences that a loved one is bringing through you.
Yeah.
Usually we see people with tarot cards and crystals, but you're just like word for word, and they call you Dave. Can you tell us more about your process and how you get the sentences?
Such a great question. Yeah, it's fascinating for me because coming from that real black and white, logical, law, boring politics, economics background, when I developed my spiritual skills, I wanted to be very specific. I wanted to be very open, but everyone that I read, I wanted them to have not a doubt in their mind that they were being able to connect with their loved ones as well. So I always focused on that, especially because I was a skeptic to start with. So when I connect with spirit, I have the ability to see, hear, and feel, and also smell and taste, which is a little bit weird. But I can hear them in my head. A lot of the time they do use my inner voice, but sometimes it does sound like it's actually their voice, around the corner yelling out at me. And there's a lot of different symbols that they can show because mediumship is essentially a game of translation as well. So sometimes they will show things or say things where I know where they're going with it, and then usually they'll give me a tick or a smile. But yeah, they will actually talk word for word sometimes in sentences where they'll be like, yeah, well, Dave, we'll say this, say this. And it's funny because my friends and my family all call me Dave. So I love that Spirit's taken that up as well. And yeah, feeling is something that's still developing as well. And this is the thing for anyone in the room, because there is a lot of spiritual energy in the room as well. So there's probably a lot of people that are hopefully developing your own spiritual gifts as well. It's just that remembrance that, even for me, I've been doing this. I mean, I've been a medium for 13 years. I've been doing it full time for nearly 8. But I'm never going to stop learning, and I'm never going to get to the point where I know everything, because like any profession or anyone who's developing a skill or a gift in life, we're never going to know it all. And it's a bit arrogant to think that you ever could know it all. So I'm just constantly developing with them at the same time as well, and they're constantly teaching me things, and I'm blaming them. I said they're getting better with communication, but I'm getting better with understanding them. So, yeah.
How do you actually, I'm just stealing question here, sorry guys, but how do you actually prepare for your live shows? Because you're going out in front of 400 people, 250 people with no script, no plan. How do you prepare for that situation?
The morning of the Melbourne one, I threw up. So no, I was like, oh God, here we go. What have I done? No, it's there is no way to properly prepare. I mean, if you listen to other mediums, they're like, well, I did a spirit circle and I meditated for, and it's like, oh, shut up. Like, you know what I mean? It's sort of like, you're still human. So when I started the Melbourne show, that was the very first big audience I've ever done. And I was about to stand in front of 300 people. And I was like, fuck, this might not actually work. Like, I might get out there and feel nothing. And then be like, all right, guys, I brought you here today to sing. So yeah, for me, it's really, I do focus on centering my energy. Like, I really do. Like, I imagine my feet anchoring into the ground. I have a bit of a game plan where I talk to spirit beforehand. I'm like, hey guys, like, you know why I'm here. I know why you're here. Like, let's go out and do it together. And they're very, it sounds so funny to say, but they're very respectful. They take it one by one. Like, doing the Melbourne show, I didn't know if I was going to get out there and suddenly have like 500 people yelling at me all at once. But they took it turn by turn, and there's no priority of message. Like, no one's messages are more important than anyone else's. Like, everyone deserves connection. Everyone deserves the ability to be able to connect with their loved ones. But the fun part about group readings, what I've started to notice as well, even if I've got an audience of say 200 people and I read 10 to 15 of them, each one of those messages, even though it's very specific to them, there's going to be little sprinkles of things that relates to so many people in the room. Like, Spirit's very clever where they can sort of piggyback each other to pass on messages to their own loved ones indirectly. So even if I'm not speaking to that person directly, everyone will sort of still relate to things that have been said, even though it's still very specific at the same time as well. But for me, yeah, I just cut out alcohol. I'm not a big drinker anyway, but cut out eating crap, try and get a good night's sleep, but that hasn't happened since 1948, so it's a bit like... And then, yeah, just get out there. And this is the thing, because, Luke as well has also presented at some of my live shows. And when I threw Luke into the deep end, I'm like, get up there and just say whatever you want. But, Luke can prepare. And Luke's, again, very knowledgeable and educated in his field. And he's great at what he does. But there is no way to really prepare for what I'm going to say. So it's more so just, really centering my energy, calming myself and getting up there and being like, let's do it. And trusting, that's the word I was after. That's the word it took me 5 minutes to say, but trusting. Trust the process.
Hi, Rosalie from Melbourne.
Hey, were you in Melbourne during COVID?
Yes.
High five.
Just going on what Maritza asked you, do you wear the same undies or do you have the same sort of
Do you want to see?
No, well, footballers, some footballers will play the same music the morning of a game and have a certain meal and wear certain clothes. Do you do anything like that, or you just really meditate?
Such a great question. Yeah, I definitely don't wear the same undies.
Oh, clean ones. Definitely clean.
I'm actually trying to think. What do I have any sort of superstition?
Just a ritual type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I play Taylor Swift, but I'm a gay man, so I have to contractually, I
Yeah.
have to do that at least once a week, otherwise I get my badge taken off me. But, it's usually conversations. Like, I won't go into a group reading without having a chat with my mum first, either face-to-face or on the phone. And she tells you, she's supportive in a go fucking do it kind of way. So it's sort of, all right, well, let's get out there. You know what I mean? So I was like, thanks, Mum. But yeah, I'm a very routinal kind of guy in general. I have set ways of just doing things in that sense. But I should meditate more than I do. But yeah, just honestly have a good night's sleep, have a nice healthy breakfast. Just get out there and do it.
Lovely, thank you.
Did I answer that question?
You did, thank you.
Ranted about Taylor Swift?
I think that's what I find so fascinating about you, is that you don't actually try that hard. Well, it just comes so easily. I know so many of us in this room for certain literally try and please give me messages. I want, we're almost popping a chakra or trying to meditate. Yeah, it's that, trying to connect. But you're just so real and grounded and still so fully immersed in the human experience.
Well, that's the best point of all. It's being immersed in the human experience, because it's, again, forgetting that irregardless of what we do, we are human. And for me, I love what I do. So there is that sort of natural alignment with it. But I just find, so many spiritual people, they just overcomplicate it. It doesn't need to be that difficult. I thought that was Charlie clapping. Thanks, Charlie. No. So if you love what you do, just get out there and do it. And have the faith, have the trust. I'm glad that it comes across as effortless to some people in the audience. Hopefully all of them, maybe. But that's the thing. I have been doing it for a long time, and I'm still learning, and I'm still growing with it. And I just have fun with it. It doesn't. I think irregardless of what you're doing for work or your career or your life goals, it's so human to overcomplicate everything. And especially for Australians, it's so human to be self-deprecating and to think that we can't do it. And, oh no, we've got all these negative mindsets. It's a human thing in general, but I find Australians in particular, we're all very hard on ourselves. So just let go of it and have fun. Yeah, don't worry, be happy.
Hi. So my question is, and you could probably relate to this because, you were in one career and then you switched.
Yeah.
So there's probably a few people in the room right now that are kind of in that transitional state.
And
I would love for you to give them kind of a little nugget or something, how do you take that leap and that trust and faith? Is there a way of connecting with spirit in order to bring through elements that helps you along the way so that you're oh, yeah, that's the sign that I've built this relationship with spirit, and they're letting me know I'm on the right track? Because I know a lot of the time people manifest things, or they're creating their dream or their reality, and there seems to be barriers. And I don't know if it's whether it's a timing situation from spirit trying to kind of hold you back so you can learn the lessons.
Yeah.
Or what is that? give us your spiel.
I honestly, I think sometimes the barriers are the ones that we place on ourselves, because the universe doesn't have barriers for us necessarily. The biggest thing is, you even said to yourself, you do need to just take the jump. I think we're all waiting for the right time or the right moment, or, okay, well, maybe if I do this first, maybe if I should do this. It's like, no, fuck it, just do it. Like, the most successful people on the planet, irregardless of what they've been successful in, went and did it. And they might have failed 10 times, but they didn't give up. And I mean, my situation's a little bit different in that sense, because I wasn't scared of the path, but I never saw it as a path that I should take, because I think for every single one of us in the rooms, we all grow up thinking life has to be a certain way. We're all told, okay, you have to work a 9 to 5, you have to get married. I mean, nothing wrong with getting married and having kids, but like, you have to get married, you have to have kids, you have to have the mortgage, you've got to live life like this. We all pride individualism, but don't be too individualistic, or, everything's options, and, you've got the whole world's in front of you, but don't do that. Like, this is the thing. We've got to be individuals while we all have to be exactly the same, because God forbid you think differently or you act differently. So it's that having faith in yourself, because no one has your back if you don't have your own. It's that simple. And no one loves you if you don't love yourself either. So connect with your passion. Sometimes connecting with our passion can be the hardest thing, because there's a lot of people that maybe don't know what their passion is. Find your passion in your daily habits. What brings you happiness? What brings you joy? When you're doing it, does it a whole hour feel like it goes for 5 minutes? That's what you should be connecting with, and that's what should be sparking joy within you. Like Marie Kondo said, spark joy, didn't she? Well, yes, I mean, rearrange your wardrobe, whatever it may be. But once you find out, and like I said, just take the jump and know that you land on your feet, because it is that simple. Because the biggest thing of all, what is meant for you will not pass by you. Because the key things in our life, in some ways, are predetermined. That means that irregardless of what we do, we're not going to sabotage or not end up where we're meant to be. And on the same theory that I was saying before, like, the universe reacts to what you're putting out there. So put out there, I'm going to connect with this. I deserve this. This belongs to me, and I'm going to excel at this. The universe is like, fuck yeah, you are. So yeah, take the jump. For anyone that resonates with, don't wait. So my story was a little bit different, because I was in law, and most toxic fucking workplace in Melbourne. And I always thought it was the job that I hated. So I would always move jobs. And then realize, after 6 months, I'm like, I hate it again. Like, this is the thing. Yeah. And I think it's probably familiar for a lot of people in the room as well, because I never saw being David the medium as my thing. Like, it was, as I said at the start, it was kind of more of a party trick. Like, it's fun, I read people, but I'm going to work in Homeland Security. I'm going to, put people in prison for drugs, things like that. And I honestly think the universe got sick of me, because it was sort of like, how many signs do you need? And how many people in the room have said, okay, I'm seeking a sign, and then you get a sign, and you're like, I would like a signier sign. Yeah. Like, how many fucking signs do you need? You've already got your answer, so trust it. Like, this is the thing, and that was me. It was sort of like, am I meant to be David the medium? Well, people are booking in, but, and the universe is like, oh God. Like, so I got to a point in life where my whole corporate career essentially fell apart very quickly, and I haven't really talked about this, but I nearly got fired. Because a lady who I was very good friends with, I wish she was in the room now, because I'd be like, fuck you. But like, I'm not bitter at all, you know what I mean? It's all part of the human experience. You can still hate people. We're not all live, life, love here. We're real. So, but she was a great friend of mine. She ended up being my manager, terrible manager, and I was the only person that kind of sat her down and be like, you can't do it like this. And she basically tried to fire me. Well, she did actually kind of fire me, but I kind of quit on the spot. So I was nearly 30 years old. I just moved to Port Melbourne. I was still studying. I was suddenly unemployed. I'm like, what are you doing with your life? And the universe is like, well, I've been trying to tell you for 5 years you should be a medium. And then I started having clients message me, because I was sort of reading 1 or 2 people a week, like maybe on the weekends or at night, in conjunction with my corporate career. And I suddenly started having clients message me being like, well, are you free during the day? And I'm like, I actually am, because I'm watching Bold and the Beautiful all day. Like, I'm actually not doing that much. So waking up at 11, going to sleep at 1, waking up at 4:30 in time for Bold and the Beautiful. So it's a bit like, I didn't have much going on. And then it was sort of like, okay, maybe I should be doing this. But it was again breaking out of that structure that we all have, where you have to work the 9 to 5. Oh, you have to have a salary. You're self-employed. That's so hard. You can't be self-employed. You have to fit the mold. And I don't doubt there's a lot of us in the room that are self-employed or have. And again, there's nothing wrong with having a corporate career at the same time either. But it just grew. The more that I had faith and trust in myself, where I was like, you know what? Like, I really enjoy this. I see the immense benefit that other people are getting from it, which is the thing that sparks so much inside me. I was like, let's give this a go. And I got told by a psychic when I was 24, she says, you'll have your dream job by 30. And I was like, I don't even know what my dream job is. But I said in my head, if I can be booked out 2 weeks in advance, like, you know, we all put these goals on ourselves, like, I'll feel like I've made it. And 2 weeks before I turned 30, I was booked out 2 weeks in advance. I was like, maybe this is it. And then even as I was starting off, I was still looking for a part-time job because I thought I had to have a salary, like I need to work. And again, every job I went for, like I aced those interviews and they never got back to me. So I was like, okay. So the universe is like, I probably didn't ace the interviews clearly, but like, the universe is like, no, just fucking listen. This is what you're meant to be doing. And then as soon as I embraced it and removed the negative self-belief and the negative thoughts and just be like, just do it, it took off because I energetically aligned with it. Did I answer the question or was that a really long answer? Yeah, baby, yeah.
You know what? Everyone was nodding there because I think there was so much resonating with so many people. And even myself, 17 years old, my careers counsellor asked me what I wanted to be, and in my head, I wanted to be a talk show host, but I was like, I can't tell her that. I'm going to a private girls' school, and they expect me to say something very different to that. You know, you're doing law, you're doing HR, you're doing IT, what are you doing? And I was like, no, I'm not going to say it. And it, actually, sitting here right now, I feel like I'm a talk show host. Woo! But, by the way, I'm no longer 17. It's taken me till 44 to sit in this seat.
It's such an interesting point again, because who says we have to know by 30? Who says you have to know by 44? Like every single person in this room, irregardless of your age, you can wake up tomorrow and reinvent your whole life if you believe that you can. Like everyone in this room has goals. Everyone in this room has things that you're wanting to achieve. Ask yourself, is it possible? And if the answer is no, then ask yourself again. And keep asking yourself until you're like, it is. So there's no limits on or time frames about how we should do things. That's a social construct that doesn't exist.
I know you do these functions and have people and you get a vibe or people put up their hand. But if you're just walking down the street with your coffee in Port Melbourne and someone walks past you and you get a full energy, do you chase them? Do you turn around? Do you
if they're hot?
Do you have if they're hot?
Yeah.
No, like, do you have to explore that, or can you just let that go?
No, it's something that I learned very on at the start, to have very strong boundaries, because I say 99% of the time I'm just David, and that 1% becomes David the medium. But it gets exhausting. And I have seen mediums that will randomly walk up to people in shop. I haven't seen it directly, but on TV, where they're like, I'm, this, and it's sort of like, really? Like, it's a bit tacky, I don't know. But I have a very good intuition and I will sense things, but I have to create that energetic boundary for my own well-being as well, and also for those that I am able to connect with. I don't want to be exhausted by the time I sit down with them at the same time either. So it's a natural thing now. And on that point, actually, hands up. How many, and put your hands up, how many people feel really tired when they're out in public suddenly? If you're in a crowd, yeah, it's so common. Like if you go to a shopping centre or you're out in the public, maybe in an event like this, I mean, this event's got a great energy, so well done, everyone. But it's something that's, I had a point around this. Yeah, perfect. So what you have to imagine, we all have an energy field, and science recognizes that as well. Like the auras, is that what, I don't even know if it's an aura, but like we have an energetic field around us. When you are coming into close contact with someone in public, your energy field is crashing into their fields essentially, because you have to imagine like a big bubble around you, say argument's sake 2 meters by 2 meters. And when you're in a crowded space or when you're in public, your energy fields are interacting with other people's. And if you're not protecting that energy field, then you're going to be picking up on their emotions, their stresses, anything that they're going through. So a big thing that I not only started doing as David the Medium, but I also do in general when I come out into public situations, I imagine myself in a force field. And I want everyone that does feel tired when they get out in public, or they feel tired when they're in sort of social settings, before you leave the home, and just do it for 2 seconds, but imagine yourself in an energetic bubble, like a big egg, and it's glowing as white and hot as the sun. And just do that for 2 seconds and say to yourself, I'm protecting my energy. And that will make such a difference. And it helps me as David the Medium as well, because I just put that bubble up and it allows me to sort of chill and recharge and relax. But yeah, that will help you from feeling tired, because I always felt the same and I just didn't know, because we're not taught these things in school. We're taught trigonometry, like, you know. How many people have that come in handy for, you know what I mean? We're not told energy management. So, yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
My name's Emma
Nice
from
to meet you.
Brisbane. I brought my beautiful daughter Claudia with me. My question to you is, with having a young son that was diagnosed very, very young with type 1 diabetes, and you see a lot of it floating in and out of the news, I guess. It comes and then it goes, and, you know, a lot of funding, but it seems that they're just prolonging my question to you is, have you seen or felt when they may release the cure,
Yeah.
the successful cure, should I say,
Yeah.
to type 1?
It's very interesting, because it was actually one of my predictions for 2024 that there would be really strong advances and treatments and possibly even cures with blood-borne illnesses and blood diseases. So in that sense, I mean, there's so much to it as well, because Western medicine, in my opinion, and not to take away from any doctors or nurses or incredible healthcare professionals, but it's not necessarily about making you healthy.
No.
It's about treating illness. And if you're healthy, they're not making money.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm glad everyone agrees that, no, wait, what? So in terms of blood-borne diseases, I've always thought, even very early on, that they will find cures for it. They will find sort of treatments for it as well. Diabetes is a very interesting one, because it should relatively be pretty simple to cure. So I know there's a lot of advancements in it at the same time, and I don't doubt that they will get there as well, especially not only with diabetes, but also managing cholesterol a lot easier. I think even Alzheimer's and dementia, which is a little bit off topic, but that's something that will definitely be able to sort of heal. But you know, I don't know your son's personal circumstances and situations either, but from a medical perspective, the body energetically reacts to every emotion that we feel. So essentially, when we have emotions or traumas or anything going on in our lives that we don't successfully unblock or heal or process, and a lot of us have obviously mental traumas, because again, we're human. And this is not to use your son as an example, this is, you know, for everyone, of course.
Yeah.
If we don't unblock it, if we don't heal it, or if we don't allow it to flow, it will manifest itself through different outcomes and unfortunately into physical ailments and illnesses. My mum turned into therapy, but my mum had a terrible relationship with my dad, for example, never really focused on healing the breakup, and ended up having a heart attack from a broken heart.
Yeah.
A lot of the older generation, especially, and unfortunately there's probably a lot of us in the room that have parents or grandparents that went through things like Alzheimer's and dementia. Like my dad's side definitely had that. And it is unfortunately very common within older females, because older females, when they were growing up, they weren't taught to have a voice. They weren't taught to voice their thoughts or their opinions. They were always the strongest women in the family, and they just did everything, and they were told to keep quiet. So that emotional energy eats away at the brain. Like, unfortunately, everything in a lot of ways does have an energetic reaction. Our generation will never have Alzheimer's and dementia because we don't shut up. Like, so, and there will be a cure for it as well. Yeah.
I mean, I do have a lot of guilt around it, because I was trying to get out of domestic violence for 5 or 6 years. I am successfully out nearly 5 years now.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Legend. That's not an easy thing to do, so 100%.
It was very difficult, but I got there. Yep. And so my pregnancy with him was I cried all the time, and I have been told by other psychics that, you know, this was his blueprint when he came here, and I do alternative medicine with him. So
Yeah.
he's 6.5 now, diagnosed at 4. And he's like a little trooper. He goes in and he looks like a little dinosaur. He doesn't think it's painful to have acupuncture. He's on natural herbs. He's
Love
like,
him.
he
Yeah.
walks around telling everyone he's not going to have it for long.
Yeah.
And one of the psychics picked up that he wouldn't have it in 2028, more from spirit and what he's doing, what we're trying to do, rather than waiting for a cure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just thought,
Yeah,
you
and
know.
that's, I mean, you make a really good point as well, because, you know, even, you know, the traumas that you went through and the incredible courage and strength it took to get out of that, it's not the cause of your son's diabetes. I definitely believe that. Like, anything that you go through can more so teach him. It's not going to be the cause of it, but even the ability to heal your own emotional connection with the traumas that you've been through has a positive impact on him at the same time as well. So he was always, the lesson of having diabetes was always going to be there for him. I personally believe that the work that you've done on yourself and the incredible strength that you've had has probably had a positive impact on his own journeys, because that energy frequency vibrates throughout the family. And that's a good message again for everyone in the crowd, because when we have the ability to heal our ancestral lines, like especially for the women in the room, like, you don't doubt you've seen what your mothers have gone through, you know what your grandmothers went through, and we don't want that for our daughters sometimes. So all of us have the ability to sort of break ancestral cycles, and that does heal the younger generation, but it also heals those before us as well. So continue doing what you're doing, because that will have a positive impact on him. But yeah, on the point of it being healed by 2028, it just would not surprise me, because there just seems to be a very strong collective energy around that switching and healing. Do I blame or do I credit it to Western medicine? Probably not. They don't necessarily want it healed. Unless there's a vaccine that they can give everyone that they can earn money from that will heal it, but that's all right. Spicy. No, it's all right.
Thank you for that question, and thank you for sharing so openly as well. My mum's in the front. If I don't let her answer the question, I'm going to probably be in ask a question. I'll be in big trouble. So let's get the mic.
David, just sitting here now, have you got spirit saying that they want to reach out to any of us in the audience now? Is there anybody here that's really standing out? Is there a spirit that's really wanting to?
Should we give it a whirl? Yeah. Everyone's like, well, you are David the medium. Yeah. Like a reading, that's not what I do. No.
We did not set that up, I promise, but great question.
Maritza's like, if he hasn't done it after 20 minutes, Mum, get in there. No. It's like, we're just turning to Helen for a question. No, totally. I had this moment where I forgot what the question was. I was like, no, hold on, meet him. Okay. No, it's when I do group situations like this, like I'm David the medium, people probably expect me to do it. So I'm like, I do, the vibe is different. Like if I was sitting in front of everyone talking about law, like it just wouldn't connect. But on that sense, when I did come in here tonight, there was definitely a lot of things that I was feeling. So let's give it a whirl. All right, everyone's like, wait, don't look at me, guys. You're making me nervous. No.
We really want to witness a gift, because the gift is pretty incredible. And I see you come out on stage, and it's pretty instant for you when you come out on stage.
Well, and I promise I will get there as well. But what I want everyone to remember, like, it's all energy. So if for any mediums in the room, and there is definitely mediums in the room because I can feel you, but it's like turning a radio station. So to be able to connect, you just sort of tune in the frequency, and it's all sort of layers. Let's get started. Now, instantly for me, there's a reference of all the children in the room that have their own sort of spiritual gifts. Now, there's no actual children in the room, so they're instantly wanting to talk about children. Now, there's a reference of...
three children in the room.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. Sorry, children. No, but it's more so like my girl... Say that again? My girl was guilty because they're going away soon. They're going to Europe, and they her daughter is a medium. Say what? Hold on. Does anyone connect with Belle or Bella, like as a daughter? Perfect. And like going away soon? Or have you just been away?
Okay.
Who's Harry?
Hang
Where's
on a minute.
Harry connect for you?
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. This is crazy.
Harris.
Yes, that's our surname. But we have just been, our daughter Bella actually stayed back at home because she has special needs, and we just felt it was going to be best for her to stay. And so, yeah, we felt a lot of guilt around leaving her. But, yeah, we went for 3 weeks, and we took our son as well.
Perfect. For a wedding?
Yeah, my brother's wedding.
Brother's wedding. That's the reaction we like. Thank you. Yeah. And your daughter's Bella. She is a medium.
Yeah, I know she has amazing gifts. She's actually at this point non-verbal, but she she actually can walk up to people and like gift beautiful energy and healing. So she's definitely in the future in whatever way she chooses. Yeah.
And she's got a younger brother.
Yes.
You've got a younger sister. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, like what's your son's name?
His name's Oakley.
Oakley.
Yes.
Oakley. No, sorry. Sorry. I was going to call him Archer, but I was like, no. Oakley. I'll keep the microphone with you for a second as well, but it is a good, there's two really interesting things that we're connecting with that you also mentioned as well. Humans shouldn't talk.
Yeah.
We developed a voice box because, I wasn't there for it when we did, but like, we all should just be operating on energy. Like, if your daughter's non-verbal, but I don't doubt this anyway, but they're all saying that you can fucking talk to her. You know exactly what she's thinking.
Yes, absolutely.
You all think the same thing, apparently, when you're watching TV as well, because I'm sort of seeing, like, sitting in front of, maybe she's on an iPad or something like that. Yeah. And she's locked in with that. But you can hear her and trust it. So, and the other thing is as well, now, Bella, for me, I don't tell me her age, because I can't remember if you said it or not, but she does feel like that she's sort of teen-ish. Children that have special needs, I don't call it like a disability. It is a uniqueness, because they are more developed than we are.
Yeah.
We think that, they're the ones with the disability, they're the ones that need our help. And of course they do, to function in the stupid world that we've created for them. But children that have disabilities in that sense, or autism or whatever it may be, they're more advanced than we are. They see, hear and feel things that we don't. Yeah. And children in general, and there's probably a lot of parents and mothers in the room in particular, but children up until the ages of 6 and 7 are incredibly switched on. They are the spiritual leaders of the planet. It's not people like me or any of the other adults in the room that are a bit more, connected. So Bella's amazing, and the fact that she can go up to people and heal. It's interesting that you say that she's non-verbal, because I don't doubt that you've been told that by, again, the medical professionals.
Yeah.
I'm really bagging
She's
everyone.
got a lot to say.
Oh, she's got a lot to say, but she will.
Yeah, she absolutely will. We know that.
Yeah,
so,
it's and maybe it is considered a rarity for teenagers or older children that maybe are non-verbal to suddenly talk. But Bella will be reciting Shakespeare one day. Like there's the reference of this unblocking.
Yeah, and that's exactly the journey I've been on. And like as myself and my husband heal our stuff, she just absolutely expands and thrives in ways that maybe society don't recognise.
No.
But from our perspective, it's just undeniable change, healing. So that's certainly a gift that she's opened up for both of us as well. Is
100%. It's all lessons. I mean, you're getting so much from it. It's like the beautiful lady over here that I read that once she was healing her stuff, it's going to help her son. Yeah. The more, and I was about to call him Archer again, Oakley. I mean, he's sweet. Like, you know what I mean? He just wants everyone to love and get along. Like, he's cute. But yeah, they're all referencing the wedding.
Oh, are they?
Which I think you mentioned was your brother's, was it?
Yeah.
They weren't sure about the bride, but apparently she's fine. I don't know her. Yeah, he had terrible taste, but he got there, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Cool.
You're like, it's like your best friend. Yeah. Is she in the room tonight?
No, she's not.
Should have checked that first. And yeah, I mean, even as we're talking, they're just referencing so many kids in my head. There's a reference of, it's a very popular name, but like, it's not a popular name, pardon me. And I don't know whether it's with you, but we'll see where we go. But they're like, Arabella is also a medium. So does anyone in the room have an Arabella? Oh, there's a few. Up here. So you two ladies up the back look very familiar. Where have I seen you before? Thank you. Maritza, call the cops. No, it's all good. No, sorry. No. Where's the, I still want to come down here as well, but where's the Arabella connection for you? Because it's not a common name.
Yeah, she's my granddaughter.
Granddaughter, perfect.
Yeah.
There's a reference of the pregnancy, but I mean, obviously her mother was pregnant with her.
Yeah, she's
not Dolly
actually
the sheep.
pregnant now.
Oh, she's pregnant now.
Yeah, her
Perfect. Okay, because
my daughter is like her mum is pregnant with another child.
Perfect.
Another girl. Yeah.
As long as you're aware of that, then, because I
Yes,
thought I was about
yes.
to spoil something. Yeah, because they're referencing pregnancies around about. So how old's Arabella now? Because she feels older than me, but she can't be.
No, she's not. She's just a 3.5.
Really? God, I would have said at least 12, 13. Yeah, fascinating. Because it's on the same theme as we were talking about with the beautiful Bella, but she's a medium again. Like they're referencing the Arabella connections, and I know that you also could connect with that. But there's a reference of, do you have 3 kids? Okay, as long as you're aware of that again, because otherwise I had a surprise for you. There's definitely a sun energy around there as well, who's like this little kind of like a tank in a fun way. Yeah. So just where I want to go with the pregnancy. So it was your daughter that was pregnant, did you say?
Yeah, she's pregnant and due in November.
I'm not worried about the pregnancy at all. So that's the first and foremost. That's the good thing as well. But did she ever have gestational diabetes or anything like that? Because I do want her to keep on top of that.
She's about to get tested. For
Okay.
that. Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, mothers have had gestational diabetes before. It's very easily manageable, but there just might be something that's going in there. It's not a warning because Spirit's not worried whatsoever, but there is a validation around the pregnancies with Arabella. So it's more so going to be her mother.
Yeah.
That there just could be things that come up over the coming weeks. So when was she due? November, did you say?
Yeah, she's due in November.
What do we now? August. So it's really not that far away. Yeah, so there just could be a few things, very personal to bring up in front of 100+ people, but she may be spotting blood.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't want her to worry about that. Like, it's not a warning of a miscarriage or anything like that. She's just doing what bodies do.
Okay, thank you.
And I think Arabella's obviously old enough to be able to talk, so you've got a doctor in the house with you, or with her mother.
Yeah,
so if there's anything medically that's going on, I'd be like, Arabella, what should mummy do about this? Because she'd be like, well, so trust it. And there are also congratulations on moving house. So I don't know whether that's with you directly or whether that's within the circle, but there's a reference of changing homes at the moment as well. Spirit's doing the massive thumbs up. Where's the older female that had cancer for you? That's actually over here, but yeah.
Yeah, it could be my grandmother, or it could be a very dear friend 5 years ago.
Breast cancer?
Yes.
Yeah, it's her.
Yeah,
Because
Denise.
as soon as you said friend, I jumped through the air, but she grabbed my chest.
Yeah.
It's like a voodoo doll. It's like, just grab her. Yeah, and if it was a very dear friend of yours, obviously not a very older lady, because it does come. She feels like she's 20, but she's obviously older than that. She's got a very young at heart energy.
Yep.
There is a reference of being unwell and then getting better, but then being unwell again, and then unfortunately the cancer did spread into the. I mean, it is in the chest already, but there's a reference of also going to the lungs or affecting breathing for her in particular. She's such a strong fighter kind of energy as well, because even though I'm unwell, she's very proud because she's singing My Way or the Highway. So it's sort of like, even with her treatment of cancer, it's sort of like she may not have done the prescribed way of doing it. She's going to do it in her own way, and she's incredibly grateful that there was the element of support around that. I want to call her Shannon, but I don't think her name is Shannon. What was her name? Sorry. No, actually, don't tell me. No, I'm just teasing. Just very quickly, and just put up your hand. Can anyone connect with a Shannon who did, or Sharon that had cancer? Shara? No. Shara? Sharon, perfect. I want to come back over there, but I'll just stick with here for a second. I'm putting out my hand and everyone just grabbed it. I'm like, are we going somewhere? Like, where are we going? Yeah, they're just referencing the pregnancy again, but they're doing the big tick, so I'll leave that with you. Thank you. And then I do want to go to, the Sharon energy that had unfortunately crossed from Cancer. And that's kind of all over the body for me. Like, it's kind of, my whole body's getting hot. There is a reference of probably starting lower, but then kind of going everywhere, if that sort of makes sense. She's got a beautiful motherly vibe with me. Like, she just kind of wraps her arm around me like a real warm motherly hug.
Like a second mother.
Yeah,
to me.
beautiful. Because when I'm connecting with you, I just look at you like my boy.
Yeah.
She actually calls herself the mum though. So what was the connection then? Like, just a family? No, it's not even a family friend. She shows herself as your mother.
We used to call her mother.
Yeah, she's not letting go of it. She's like, I'm the mother.
Because she was strict.
Surprise. Again, she just has that opportunity, because it is sort of this reference of being unwell and then kind of getting better, but then being unwell again, just like the beautiful lady there. She says, sort out his love life. He says, what's taking so long?
Could be accurate.
Is that your partner next to you?
No.
No,
no,
okay.
Friend.
Now I'm intrigued. What do we need to sort out? No, I don't know. Is that mum?
Friend.
Gran?
Friend.
Friend. I was about to say. I'm like, you're the grandmother? The Sunshine Coast is treating you well. It's like, I feel like I'm older than you. Know that Sharon in particular, it just doesn't look at you but anything else but a son. Like, it is this overwhelming energy, and I mean, she's in your life from a very young time as well, because it's the ability to sort of get to watch him grow.
Since I was born.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. And really proud of the energy of getting to watch him grow. I'm seeing a dragonfly, and usually that's a male spirit kind of energy. But she's also showing herself as a dragonfly, which I find interesting as well. She's I can smell tobacco. Did Sharon smoke?
Yep.
She's still
Big
smoking.
smoker. Yeah. Till the end.
It's really strong suddenly.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, even as I smell my hands, it smells like tobacco. Anyone want to smell? No, I'm teasing. She says it's not that she's shy, but she's like, I just wanted to tell him I love him. Don't. She's kind of got this real bold energy, but then as soon as all the attention's on her, she's like, no.
Is there anything for her daughters?
Yeah, literally where I was about to go, because she's referencing the kids. So I was about to ask whether you had siblings, but her daughters will obviously be that. Again, there's sort of the reference of that they made the right decisions around how they honour me in particular. But in their life right now, Dave, she says, she just swore. She says, well, fuck it. She says they just have to do what they have to do. And that I'm protecting them, so I don't want everyone else to feel the stress of feeling like they... It's not meant to sound negative, but like the stresses of feeling like that they're going through a lot or that they can't help. It's sort of like, I've got them regardless of everything that's going on. There's a bit of a relationship energy there again with her daughters. And I'm not getting too much guidance on it from her, but it doesn't feel like a... Oh, I'm losing my breath, which is all about communication. And she's No, it's more about like her daughters with communication. Their father's a bastard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's accurate.
Her words, I don't know him.
Yeah.
I don't think I do. Is he in the room? No, it's okay. So what happened with Sharon and their dad?
Oh, ugly divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah, ugly divorce.
Well, she wants to...
He wasn't very nice to
No,
me,
she wants to smack him, to be fair. Like, really...
Yeah. I think she did a couple of times too.
Pardon?
I think she did smack
Yeah, I'm scared of her, so I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
Just with her daughters, like there's again, it's keeping on the continuation of themes around children, but there has to be something about pregnancy or the elements of like children coming into the world.
Yeah, her eldest daughter was pregnant but lost the baby.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I think trying again.
She will be successful. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. It's just again about healing. Oh, see, this gets a little bit deep because it's the element of healing relationship energy. So not that that's stopping her daughter from, expanding and growing her family. But see, and again, this is a good message for anyone in the room that sort of had a bit of a, maybe not toxic upbringing, but like, my parents fucking hate each other, and I grew up in that. It's the very first relationship any of us ever see of that between our parents. because we're not dating when we're 5 years old. Like, we're not exposed to that kind of world. Like, we get our relationship trigger points and our viewpoints from our parents. And for any parents in the room, it's also a good thing to remember that you are setting an example for your children about how you are with their father or their mother. What Sharon brings up is that for her daughters, I mean, she's very protective of them, and she was a great mother energy to... did she have a son as well, though?
A son.
Perfect.
Yeah.
He's very different to the girls.
Very different.
Did he have an issue with drugs or alcohol?
Not to the point of rehab, but
No.
definitely enjoyed the recreational use of them.
Wow, you know. Yeah. It's Queensland.
Yeah.
Sorry, Queensland. So what she sort of validated, and especially for her daughters around pregnancies as well, I mean, there's a lot of healing that sort of happened with the viewpoint of how the relationship is with, like, their father. But it's sort of the element of being able to release or let go. And even with, like, I don't doubt that she's in a partnership, but I just actually can't feel his energy with her. So it's like, I don't think it's like an IVF thing that she's doing alone necessarily. I don't doubt that she does have a partner. But it's just about also building on the connection with him a little bit more. Like, he's not a great communicator. Well, maybe that's why I was actually losing my breath there. Yeah. Does she have kids already, though? This is the one that unfortunately lost her pregnancy?
No kids yet.
Sharon's holding up 2 fingers.
2 dogs. 2 fair
More
children.
important than kids.
Yeah.
No, I reckon she'll end up having 2 kids. Someone said not a bloody dachshund. I don't think she's got a dachshund. Does anyone have a bloody dachshund? Like a dachshund, like a sausage dog. Yeah, but it's more so than anything else that, especially for you, but especially for, you know, the biological children as well, it's this real element of watching over like a hawk, and just being incredibly proud. Loving the lady that you're sitting with as well. So I don't know whether you knew Sharon or not, but she wraps her arms well, I imagine you would know, because she's wrapping her arms right around you and pulling you in and kind of putting you in a bit of a headlock, but like kind of just rubbing your like forehead. And she says, no, I love her. And it's just this element of trust. Like everything, she says, Dave. She says, it's like, Dave, everything works out how it's meant to. I understand that now as well. She says, but he needs to buy a new car. Did you just get a new car, or are you needing a new car?
Looking at a new car.
Good.
Yeah.
She'll direct you towards the right one.
Okay.
She says, she's like, no, I fucking won't. Okay, maybe she won't. She just knows that you're wanting a new car or looking at a new car. Sorry, Sharon. Well, don't show me a car with a ribbon on it then, if you don't want me to say that I think that you're helping. And yeah, doesn't want her daughters to worry about their cancer either as well, because unfortunately, again, there's probably a lot of people in the room that maybe we have lost loved ones from cancer that can sometimes be considered genetic or hereditary. With her biological family connections, there's a reference of that they won't go through what I went through. Now, when I reference cancer for her, again, it sort of feels like it's sort of spreading throughout my whole body. I actually can't work out what the primary source is, even though my abdomen is kind of tingling. But there's about 30 organs there anyway. But what was... it's in my head now, like right through there. What was her primary source?
Yeah, she had a brain tumour.
Oh, yep. Right in the middle.
Yeah.
And she says, but it changed my personality. I became more of a bitch.
Yeah.
Her words. She's really quite humorous, even though you maybe, not that you wouldn't see it, but she's funny. Like, she's got a good sort of side to her. And sort of given that she had a brain tumour, and this is me asking, did that ever affect communication for her?
Yeah, she couldn't speak for the last probably couple of weeks.
Sort of having issues with communication again, because it just sort of connected. But yeah, doesn't want anyone related to her to think that they would go through that either. So hers actually does feel quite rare, to be very fair. Yep. So I don't know much about the names of brain tumours, but I don't think hers was necessarily one that would be, common, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it couldn't be operated on.
Yeah, okay. And it wasn't that, well, she says it grew, but it wasn't that big. It was just in a really bad spot.
Yeah.
Like centre of that, well, probably, yeah, maybe the centre of the head, or really close to important parts of the brain. I mean, the whole brain's important, but she's like, all right. She says, just remember, this was actually a message in a live show I did recently as well. She just brought it into my head. But when you're driving, or especially when you get the new car as well, she's completely sitting in the back seat. And I've actually got this in my car, but is that what we're going to say? Can you get a St. Christopher? Do you know St. Christopher? Does anyone have a St. Christopher in their car with them? All the wogs are like, yeah. Yeah, so that's Southern Europeans, sorry. Yes. All 5 of them on the Sunshine Coast. So St. Christopher is the patron saint of travel, so it's good to keep on your key rings or in your luggage. You've got one?
Got one.
Perfect. Yeah. You don't look Greek. No, I'm kidding. Or Italian. That's what she's showing me as well. So I love that you've got that because I've got one as well, but not many people actually do. So the fact, do you keep it in the car though? Because she wants you to keep it in the car.
It's in the car at all times.
Perfect. Yeah. Know that she's connecting with that as well. And it's actually, it's not that you're a bad driver, but it has saved you before. Like she references, she says, Chris and I, I'm like, you're on a first name basis with St. Chris. But Chris and I have helped him. Like, it's not a warning because it would have already happened, but have you been in an accident recently, or was there a situation that should have been, something about flood water actually? Well, it's been raining, but do you have any connections with like more rural parts of Queensland or even New South Wales?
Oh, we grew up on sort of some land out in the hinterland on the Sunshine Coast, but that's as rural as it gets.
No, it feels more like deserty. I don't know. Is there desert in Queensland? No. Somewhere. It's been years, Maritza. Yeah, it's like, as I said, it's not a warning of a car crash or anything like that as well. But if you keep the St. Christopher in the car, know that Sharon and St. Christopher are protecting you. And for anyone else as well, it's just a good little thing to have. I mean, as I said, I'm not necessarily religious per se, but I definitely believe in it. But yeah, massive. Halfway through talking, she's blowing kisses. But yeah, massive kiss to you both. Yeah. Beautiful lady next to you. How did you know Sharon?
I didn't know Sharon.
She loves you.
I know her daughters.
She says, she's like, no, we met, but I'm pretty sure you would know if you met her.
No, definitely not.
She's gonna fist on with you if you say no. She's like, no.
Maybe in another life.
Good answer. No, she really has a bonded energy with you because it is rare for me to see spirit hug people if they didn't meet them. Usually if they haven't met you, and even those that have had readings with me, there could be grandparents that maybe you never met or things like that, they usually will actually shake your hand. She wrapped her arms around you and kissed you on the forehead and then kind of like, not a headlock, but put her arm right around your neck. Sounds worse than it is, but like, yeah, kind of right through that. But yeah, to both of you, from everyone up here and from me, a big kiss as well. Spirit says, all right, one more. And I'm like, one more? We've got all night. When do we have the venue booked to? We're fine. Yeah. They are connecting with what they call the mirror image of you, which is me. How? It's references the medium, but they need to build their ability. Is there like a SHO, like a Shona? Oh, right, good. Again, not a common name. So I was like, hello? God, this is the same message I'm telling everyone. Do you know that you're a medium, Shona? Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. So is Christmas. It's really interesting, Shona, but I'm going to single you out a little bit here.
Okay.
I'm putting you on the spot because, I'd rather tell you, but then they're like, no, what's her question for you? She needs to verbalize it. So, I mean, even with the ladies that you're with, but sorry to put you on the spot, but and I'm being a bit of a lazy medium, it feels like, but they're the ones, but did you have a question for me?
Well,
It's younger.
My husband died on the 8th of the 8th, 16.
Oh, wow.
Which I didn't know anything about the Lionsgate and stuff until recently. And I thought, to me, it seemed like a pretty significant date.
That's incredible. So that's why they're drawing it back to me, because I talked about the Lionsgate before with manifestations.
Yeah.
he says, tell her I've lost weight and I'm looking good. He still calls you the medium, which is so fascinating. Which, I mean, it can lead into also other conversations that we had about signs and connections and things like that. Apparently you think that you don't get them. But he says, no, I'm giving it to her and I'm glad that she acknowledges it as well. So trust that at the same time. Is your mum with you by any chance?
No, she's passed.
Perfect.
There's not that many of my family members left other than the younger ones.
The reference of looking after mum. So there's actually 3 females that just came forward. So I just want to, I mean, I don't doubt that mum's part of that. Again, there's a smoker in there somewhere, but...
Might be my brother.
Yeah.
But he's obviously a male, but...
The what, sorry?
I don't know if my brother's hanging around there with the smokes.
I can smell tobacco again, strong. It's more with the female, but I want to see where we go with it because the element of smoke is still there. But with your beautiful husband, it's a fascinating... Because I do believe that when we are creating our soul journey in the physical world, that we do choose per se, or we do right when we walk. There's a lot of elements of speaking with him, actually. My whole throat just got blocked again with him. That I do believe we choose, for want of a better word, when we are going to cross over. So the fact that he crossed over on the Lion's Gate is a very symbolic period about not only spiritual connection, but also the ability to manifest into your life in some ways as well. He says, Dave, if she's happy, that's all that matters to me. He says, my biggest fear is that I didn't tell her enough that I want her to be happy and that I do love her. He says, I hope that she knows that. He says, I didn't believe in this shit. I'm like, okay.
That'd be right.
Yeah. He's like, I didn't believe in it. I'm like, well, you've got no choice now, do you? But he says, I wished I told her more to be, like, not only that I loved her. And he feels awkward saying it, but it's like in a funny way.
Yeah. Yeah, I get
It's
that.
like, it's a very stereotypical masculine thing as well about, like, I think probably a lot of men in the room are maybe not as emotionally connected as women. I don't think that's an understatement to make at all, but he really sort of references being able to connect more with his emotional side. Your mum is rolling her eyes at him.
My mum is.
Yeah, your mum is. She's like looking at him being like, oh, God. And it's the element of, like, she believes that she has new beginnings when she wants them. So it's sort of like, from him in particular, it's sort of like, okay, well, and he did pass quite quickly because he does sort of click his fingers, which is a reference of sudden or unexpected. Like, this wasn't like a long-term thing for him.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he had a heart attack, but my chest heart area does get quite sore. He does reference a blockage of the heart, but no one knew that.
Oh, wow.
What it wasn't a heart attack that caused him to cross over, but what actually happened there? Because my heart's really sore.
He had liver cancer.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was he like? So what was that?
Oh, sorry.
I was saying to my mum that he was only diagnosed, from the diagnosis to his death, it was 3.5 weeks.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
6. Sorry.
Like he was in hospital.
Yeah. It's very quick. Yeah. Yeah.
There's definitely something going on with the heart. I know, unfortunately, it's not relevant to his general health at the moment, but it's interesting that you say cancer because I actually can't feel that.
Wow.
I don't doubt that he unfortunately went through it because for him it's more the element of really quick, which, you know, unfortunately with the diagnosis to passing is incredibly quick of only a few weeks. And he's, he says, that's my daughter. I'm like, yep. And he says, just like Sharon, has she sorted out the love? No, she's got, I want to say that you've got someone good in your life. I mean, fingers crossed that's the case. She's sorting it out, but that's, but more so for you. Like, he just keeps saying, I hope she knows I love. I just want her to do what you've said tonight, Dave. What is that? Oh, to connect with happiness or to connect with purpose. There's so many people that still need her and want her to be a part. And I'm proud of all the decisions that she makes. She should go on a cruise. You're a bit young to go on a cruise.
I've been talking about that with my sister-in-law to go to Italy, actually.
Perfect. Well, I'm not going to say no to that either. But yeah, you should be going on a cruise in 25.
Okay.
Oh, probably 2025.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've just missed the European summer this year anyway, so you'd probably prefer to go next year. Do the cruise. He says that he'll get bored, but he'll pop in every now and then. Spirit always gets free holidays. It's unfair. But he says all she has to do is ask. All she has to do is ask. Oh, my beautiful. He says, look at me using the word beautiful. So I don't doubt that he thinks you're beautiful, all the family, but he says, I don't use that. He's got a real sort of soft side to him at the same time as well. Like, even though he's got this sort of very stereotypical masculine, he's got, really is quite a bit of a soft teddy bear, emotional, kind of sweet kind of energy.
Yeah, Cancerian too.
Oh, perfect. Okay. That means I don't know star signs. I need Luke to describe that for me. No. Oh, I like Cancerian males. They are quite teddy bearish.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he had his gruff side, but he...
Oh, he's definitely rough in a fun way. He says, not a truck driver rough. I'm like, well, I don't know what that means. Unless he did drive trucks. He's even going into the messages that I was sort of saying before about how we ask for signs or trust what the signs are as well. So in particular with music, he's very drawn in. He's referencing, I'm not saying he loved Bon Jovi, but I sort of saw Bon Jovi made a very stereotypical, kind of musical guy. But music will be, for all of you and your connection with spirit in particular, there's so many signs around sound and music in particular. And he does say that you acknowledge or feel that already. So if you are hearing certain songs, he's referencing Coles as well. So pay attention to the Coles radio. Here I am looking for the Coles. We're not in Coles.
At the supermarket?
Yeah, at supermarkets. Like, pay attention to the songs that come in on supermarkets in particular, but also he says, have a concert at home. And he says, I actually want her to get up and dance. So play music.
On the table?
Pardon?
On the table?
Why not? Why not? Just take off your shoes first and you'll be all right. But yeah, actually just... And I mean, that's a good message again for everybody, because I say we are complicated snow globes. Like, when we are more sedentary, when we are more still, like, our energy does settle. And again, I think we all have moments where we just feel really lethargic or a bit sort of demotivated or a little bit flat. Get up and move around for 5 minutes. Like, shake the body up and get the energy moving, and you will feel better for it. Don't get in the cold plunge, Tori. No, yeah, we don't. Like, I saw this meme the other day, and it said that the cold plunge, it's sort of like the body just feels good after the cold plunge because it's not hypothermic anymore. Not because it's like we just feel good about not being fucking freezing. But cheers to that. But get up and just move. And he says, I want to see you. He's so funny. He's like, I just want to see them dance. I want to see them move. But yeah, massive kiss again. Thank you. And you are, just onto that, you are a natural connector and a medium as well. I mean, every single person in the room is. But for you in particular, Shona, like, you will get signs and pick up on things that maybe other people wouldn't sense or miss. You're very intuitive. Like, I'd be coming to you for advice on everything. And he says, don't change your hair.
Oh, okay.
He said shave it off. No, I'm joking. He didn't really. Don't do that. Yeah, just blowing kisses. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's always a bit of fun.
Does anyone else want a reading? Just curious. Does anyone want to win one? Yeah, let's give one away. Do you want to give one away?
So I would love to give everyone a link to my next 22 Minutes to Manifest. And if you have bought one already, then I'd like to give you a link to the one after that as well. But yeah, the next one will be on September 25. So I think you've got everyone's emails.
We will send you out the link in your
I'd love to have you all there for that as well, to do it properly. I mean, we had a bit of a dip the toe in the water, but yeah, we'll do the proper one. And yeah, has anyone bought a link to the one on September 25 already? Perfect. Okay. Just one? You all should have. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding. But yeah, so the one after that, I'd love to give you a complimentary link to that as well. But Maritza's got something very exciting. Yeah,
so let you do the honours.
The honours, okay.
Just like choosing whatever you think works.
Perfect. So this is for an all expenses paid trip to Italy with me. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, this is for a free Zoom reading with me. So we'll get to spend half an hour together. We can do this next week as well. Can we? I suppose I'm live next week, hopefully. Am I in Melbourne next week? Yes. And if I die, the joke's on you. No free reading. Violet.
Who?
Oh!
Yay, congratulations.
I look forward to sitting down with you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now,
What is something you once unheard? Sorry.
no, go. You read it out.
I was like, what is something you once unheard that you could not unhear?
What is something you once heard that you could not unhear?
Well, Violet says, you can't fill from an empty cup. And I love that. Did I? Thank you. No, no, yes. You can read me. Great. Win-win. You probably could. That would be a great plot twist, and I'd be happy for you to read me. Any mediums in the room, you are welcome to reach out to me whenever you want. Hopefully tonight, and you can read me at 10 o'clock. But no, you can't fill from an empty cup. It is so true, because I think, again, especially for those of us in a service job, it's sort of like we want to give, and there's a lot of empaths in the room, and there's a lot of sort of connected people in the room, and all we want to do is help. But you can't be the best person for anyone else in your life, especially those that you love, unless you are the best person for you. Because to use the analogy, it's kind of like a plane crash, which is the second time I brought that up in the show. But if a plane loses oxygen, all the masts fall down. You have to put on your own before you can help anyone else. And life is exactly the same. You are the best person that you can be when you are the best person to you. And it's not arrogant, it's not, egotistical or conceited to love yourself and be proud of what you're doing, who you are, because then that means that you are the best for everyone else who loves you as well.
Love that. Now, this is the final question, and for those who do listen to the podcast, I ask this to everyone, and you just asked Violet. But what is one thing that you once heard that you couldn't unhear?
The one that I've always held on to is life is 10% what happens and 90% how you react. Because every single one of us in this room has gone through incredibly difficult circumstances and traumas and really shitty things. But it doesn't define us, and it doesn't have the ability to have power over us. It's how we react to it, and it's how we control it. That is the most important thing, because I do see it a lot, just not so much in my readings, because I've got some, just most beautiful people that find their way to me, but in general society, and especially in Australia at the moment, I think there's sort of like a celebration of victimhood. And there's a celebration of mediocrity in some ways as well. It's not as bad as it was, but I think we went through a bit of a stage where it was kind of the oppression Olympics. It's sort of like, who could be the most oppressed and who's the most victim? And it's sort of like, no, none of us are defined. I've read for some people, and I know some people in my life that have gone through the most traumatic nonsense bullshit, and they are still the most giving, strong, balanced people, because they understood that they're not defined by anything in their past, and none of us are. You have to look at everything in your life like a jigsaw piece. It doesn't represent the whole puzzle, because it's just one piece. It's a part of your story. And it doesn't mean that you forget it. It doesn't mean that you block it out. It doesn't mean that it still can't bring up things within us. But it just represents one piece of the whole puzzle. So nothing has power over us. Not one event, not one person, not one thing in our life, unless you give it the conscious permission to have power over you.
Thank you so much for everything you've shared tonight.
Thank you.
Absolutely amazing.
And thanks so much, everyone, for coming. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, we're just going to open up for a couple more drinks if you like. If you want to have a meet and greet with David at the media wall, you're more than welcome. But thank you, everyone, for being here tonight.
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you. Legend.
Biggest thanks of all to you.
Thanks for listening to the show. What did you think? And what did you feel? Let us know by leaving me a message on the Things You Can't Unhear Instagram community page. And if you can, give us some ratings love on your favourite listening platform.